Ah, yes, another classic from ChemLab, one of my favorite bands. It is a damn shame, and I'm not bullshitting you. It is a damn fucking shame that they were so into heroin because they had so much fucking talent. ChemLab had so much fucking talent, but heroin does bad things to you, and it really kills motivation. And apparently, it caused divisions in the band, and oh, there's all sorts of things about them and heroin. But for instance, that's how they'd fund their tours. They would go on tour, and whether or not the tour made money didn't matter. They sold drugs along the way. But unfortunately, heroin took its course and burned them out, which sucks ass because they had so much potential. I mean, at one point, they were touring with Nine Inch Nails. I mean, seriously. And I don't know. I don't know. Just didn't work out, I guess. But anyway, uh, thought I'd drop in again. Wolf 10 says, "Hey, Ishi, you all right?" And the answer, my friend, is no. No, I'm not all right. I'm still not sleeping well, and it's really fucking with my work. I mean, I'm getting some stuff done, but not at the rate I would like it to be done, which is driving me nuts. Taking too many naps, shit like that. What about 10-inch nails? Asks Mario Kart. Well, 10-inch nails never happened, I guess. We just had to stick with 9 because 10 was just too much for her. Anyway, anyway, I thought I'd drop in again. And oh, wait a minute. What do we got here? 2 streams in one day, huh? Not sleeping well? Wonder why you were streaming while Terrence Pop was going on about paranormal stuff. Terrence Pop's a very interesting guy. Uh, Take melatonin, use a sleeping mask, drink water, whiskey. Well, I do take melatonin, maximum dose. Sleeping masks sometimes. I mean, is there something special about a sleeping mask, or do you just mean put darkness over your eyes? Because to tell you the truth, I sleep better in sunlight. Um, Good to hear that you entered your short into the Bane contest, Draco Nightmare. But yeah, I thought I'd drop in and say hello again. I don't know. I did not spend the day I wanted, the way I wanted to. How about that? I got up, got to a good start, did what I needed, then you just passed out about 11:30, woke up at 3:30. Took me about another half hour or so to get functional again. And instead of going outside and working on Boobs of Steel and Siege Engine like I did yesterday, um, one, I found some errors in the Buttsteak deal that I had to immediately fix. And then two, with the Buttsteak deal doing this free promotion right now, where essentially right now on Amazon, you can get the Buttsteak deal. You can download it absolutely free on your Kindle. Um, it's just not getting the response that Robomancer did. When I put Robomancer up for free, I mean, day one, we moved 66 copies. But this one, Buttsteak deal's just crawling, man. I think I've gotten 11 people to download it for free. Now, maybe it was the stupid ass decision of making it free on tax day. That may be the problem. It could be everyone's so wound up with their taxes, no one's paying any damn attention to uh, stupid random silliness being uploaded for free onto Amazon. But it's like we're at number 44 in general humorous fiction. We had been at 36. And so, it's like I can't let that stand. So instead I spent the day on the 01 Twitter doing my best to promote it. Kind of frustrating. Not really what I wanted to do today, but it's part of the job. So Marco says, wait, a band named ChemLab destroyed by drugs. Ironic. Well, according to story, ChemLab, the name, came about when Jared and Dylan were trying to think of a name for their band, and they'd been up for 3 days on drugs. And Dylan said, my brain, the inside of my head feels like a chem lab. And they're like, there's the name. If that's true. Also, when are the aliens coming to kill us all? Is there news? Is there more news? Did the government say more stuff about UFOs? If so, please give me a link. I'd love to talk about it. And why would the aliens come to kill us? I told you, we're not here to kill you. At least the Greys aren't. The Greys have no interest in killing my people. My people are just stewards. We're here helping you out some. We're helping you move forward in your evolution with, simulations, abductions, and butt probes. I mean, listen, that and we're at war with the reptoids, but that's another story. Oh, it's just because you don't want to go to work tomorrow. Well, that's a good reason, too. That's absolutely a good reason. But yeah, anyway, if you could, even if you don't own a Kindle, just go download the Buttsteak deal. It's fucking free, man. I want to get the numbers up. I bought 3 shirts and a graphic, and graphics are falling off. Whoa, what shirts did you buy? Just out of curiosity. They weren't from us, were they? Because I've had that happen with a few. I bought this Devo shirt, right, a while back. I mean, official, right? And you'd expect a shirt from Devo to be pretty good. Same thing. The decal could not survive the dryer. Now, granted, I usually don't use a dryer, but so what shirts went wrong for you, Mario? Because I will complain directly to whoever you ordered it from if it's one of ours. As for falling asleep to ambient music, carbon-based life forms is a very good choice. Very, very good choice. Give me a topic. Anything else going on? I mean, is there still rioting going on in Chicago? It seems like it's overall been kind of a slow news day. I mean, you see what Tim Pool's covering right now. It's a whole lot of nothing. I mean, let's see. Yeah, it's a whole lot of nothing. Arizona is the dry. That is true, Ironcast. That is absolutely true. That's why we don't use a dryer. We didn't even buy one. We just take them out, hang them on the clothesline. They're dry in about maybe 15 to 20 minutes. The cow barbecue one, the abduction team one, and the chupacabra one all got eaten in the dryer, Mario. Okay, I'm gonna give a call over to T Public and see what the fuck the deal is. You're the first to report this problem. Maybe you have a particularly hot dryer. I don't know, but that pisses me off that would happen. That really pisses me off. I heard there was a woke Wizard of Oz adaptation by NBC, but it came and got canned and nobody talked about it. Well, yeah, I guess it did come and go because yeah, I haven't heard fuck all about it. My heart burns for Chicago. That city never deserved any of that chaos. I don't know. I mean, the city was built on crime. I mean, it really was always corrupt. I mean, it was built by the mafia. I mean, apparently the New York mafia is afraid of Chicago. They placed Cobra bubbles on Lilo and Stitch live action reboot with a fat. I don't know what that means. Hopefully, my puking midget shirt is okay. Well, again, I am sorry to hear that the dryer is eating your clothing. I mean, that really does not speak well for any of these T-shirt manufacturers. I'm kind of wondering if quality is going down because of, because of inflation. But yeah, I don't know. That's fucked. Seriously. I'll talk to Kat. I'll have her talk to our rep at T Public and say that we're having people complaining that the shirts aren't surviving the dryer. Yeah. Again, I don't use a dryer, so I couldn't say myself, but no, that should not be. Might have been a bad patch of shirts. My abduction team hoodie has been through the dryer at least 6 times and not problems. And my Ralts Cannon shirt at least once. We'll see. Well, who knows? There does, that is part of the problem with these print-on-demand services. Is it's kind of touch and go whether they're good or not. The roaming hordes are starting to remind me more of the cultists of chaos or the orcs from Warhammer 40k. Yeah, I would agree with that. So, hey, Eloise, how you doing? So seriously, how do we get the word out? How do we get those numbers up on the Buttsteak deal? I mean, do you think it really is just that I made the horrible mistake of launching a freebie on tax day? I think everyone's too busy rushing to the post office right now, cramming their tax returns into the box. Also, I've been looking into who reviews Chuck Tingle books. Now, I realize nothing I've produced even comes close to Chuck Tingle. Richard Steele is mild in comparison to Chuck Tingle, but I'm kind of wondering if I can get reviews from them. Also, due to tax time, we're not going to do an official hard launch for Ridiculum until probably next month. But we are lining up interviews for that. All right. So who's home from work? Just curious. How about you? What's going on? What's going on, Wolf? Haven't talked to you in a while. Other than the standing outside a store handing out cards like a dude in Vegas that would hand out business cards for strip clubs or escorts. Depending on where you are, that might actually work. I don't know. Just bad sleep. Hey, so those of you who've been following Ralt's game, what'd you think of last game? I thought last game was pretty intense. No comment there. Also, again, I will repeat, try and get those reviews in because we want to read them in the next 2 weeks for Buttsteak. I mean, we had so much fun reading the reviews for Robomancer. It was intense. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I am seriously, I am sick of sleeping. I feel like I'm only living half a life right now. Oh, you're motivating, hyper focused on working out. Well, that's a good thing. Well, that definitely is a good thing. I'm just kind of rambling here. I guess I have a whole lot less to say than I thought. I'm thinking for the. I've been enjoying Raltz's game a lot, although also as a DM, I think he's too nice. Needs more rolling of boob sizes, though. I'll mention that to him. I'll definitely mention that to him. It's kind of weird is since we're doing this stuff for these pulp collections, strangely enough, these stories that are piling up the quickest, I think I mentioned this, was there are a lot of vampire stories. And one of the things that shocked me is there are a lot of space vampire stories. Kind of a genre that, again, aside from Life Force, can anyone think of any space vampire stories or movies to come out in the last 20 years or so? Shit, Life Force was in the 80s. But yeah, I think that the next collection will probably be either vampires or space Amazons. And the space Amazons is because I can directly tie it to the release of Boobs of Steel. Because I do this whole section on the influence of the pulps and the image of the Amazon appearing in the pulps in the 40s, 50s and 50s, and 30s, 40s, and 50s. And a lot of those stories that I mentioned do show up in the Space Amazon anthology. Stargate Atlantis had wraiths, which were basically space vampires. I remember the pilot to that being good, and then I just never saw any more of it. Amish vampires in space never made it past the title. Well, how do you have an Amish vampire, though? I mean, once they're a vampire, unless they're a science vampire, if technically religious vampires are demons possessing a dead body. So it's a form of demonic possession. So at that point, you're not really Amish anymore, are you? What kind of gun would you give an angel if they had to gun down demons and sinners? Me, I'd give them a Remington Model 11. Oh, it depends on your lore, really. Really, it just depends on how you want to approach the lore. There are various things that in the lore harm demons. Sometimes it's sunlight, sometimes it's silver because it's a pure metal, holy water. It depends. One of the things is that depending on, again, which lore you choose, since demons are fallen angels in Christian mythology, they still have to heed the word and commands of God. So hence the way exorcisms work. But really, I don't know, maybe, yeah, some sort of gun that, if you could somehow merge a gun that fired pure sunlight, that might do it. There's NOS 4A2, a space energy vampire from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Oh, really? It's interesting. Who did Jesus kick out of the temple again? Well, who he kicked out were the moneylenders, but it's a little more complicated than that if you know the full story. A lot of context gets lost in that. And Kat's better at this one than I am. But it was the moneylenders and all the people hawking goods out in front of the synagogue or temple. But what most people don't know about that story specifically, was that the rabbis of the temple were running a racket. And unless I'm getting this wrong, from what I recall, the idea is you were supposed to go in with an animal and give it to the rabbis, and the rabbis would take it out back and sacrifice it for you, and hence you've paid your dues to God. But in reality, what the rabbis were doing was they'd take it and they'd say, "Oh yeah, we're going to sacrifice it," and then 20 minutes later, that goat or chicken or whatever you brought to be sacrificed was being sold out front to people who would then buy them from the rabbis, who would then go back inside and say, "Oh, Rabbi, here's my offering to God." They would take it, and then they'd go back out front and resell that chicken. And that's what Christ or Jesus was raising hell over, is that basically the rabbis were a bunch of con artists, and that they were using their position as holy men, as rabbis, to essentially rip off the masses or to run a racket. Kind of like ESG scores in a way. Funny you should mention about vampires as demons possessing a dead body. Joss Whedon did that for his approach on vampires for Buffy and Angel. Well, that is the original Pharisees. Thank you. That is the original mythos for at least Eastern Europe, and Western Europe later, was that they were demons possessing. They were animated corpses with a demon in them. and that what I think what it was what when sunlight hit them, they became corpses again. Who did he kick out? The J band. Hey, it's in the book, man. It's in the Old Testament. That's one of their books. It's right there. And there's no shortage of men of the cloth using that to line their pockets. I remember in Oakland there was a reverend, this black preacher who was basically, he was like this really big deal. He was the reverend that all the black people in the community went to, and he'd put on one hell of a show. But the guy was living in a mansion, drove a champagne colored was it Bentley rings. It was the whole thing. It was obvious this guy was just cashing in. Have we seen a movie where vampires fought aliens yet, or do we have to beat Darkstalkers Night Warriors to see that? Vampires versus aliens. That'd be curious. That'd be interesting. It was one of the pulp stories I read was a great idea that then, like as Kat calls it, third act blue balls. It went nowhere, which was this scientist creates a core or a human body completely by through chemistry. He takes the essential elements of life and produces a body, but it has no internal organs. And so he figures, oh shit, I failed. And he goes out with his girlfriend. And at the same time, in somebody's family mausoleum, somebody had made the mistake of pulling a stake out of one of the corpses that was in the family mausoleum. And the spirit of that vampire then possessed the organless corpse or the organless body that the scientist had created. It's like there's so much that could have been done there, and they did nothing with it. Vlad Tepes from Brad Stoker's Dracula didn't turn to ash when he went out in public daylight. Instead, his powers were significantly weakened due to sun's effect. Yeah. Imagine if a xenomorph impregnated Dracula. Well, that's kind of a tough one because the facehugger would implant the embryo, and it would lodge itself down by the heart and throat, and it would feed off the body's nutrients until it was time to hatch. But the vampire's dead. There's nothing to feed the embryo that the alien shoves down its throat. So I don't know. I don't think it would. You might not get anything, actually. I haven't even read the story, and I have blue balls from that summary. Yeah, I mean, it was a great premise, and then they just kill it at the end. They don't go anywhere with it. Oh no, this is a vampire without a heart. We can't stake it. Oh, well, let's throw some acid I just happened to have on me on it. The end. It's like, wait a minute. So we had Act 1, Act 2, and then it ends. The strain plays with vampires being biological and mystical. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing. Again, Kat and I have done a couple shows where we discuss that. The religious vampire, the Asian vampire, the mystic or magical vampire, and then the sci-fi vampire. And they're each different and have their own rules. Half demon, half angel. All the sex you could ask. All the sex if you could. All sexy if you ask me. Wonder why we don't see that more often. I know it screams bad fanfic, but it can be done right. I think there were a few comics like that in the 80s, indie comics, where that was the concept. Half angel, half demon, like Dante from Devil May Cry. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. So now that 20 of you are now listening and on with me, I will push once again. The Buttsteak deal is currently free on Amazon. That's right. You just click it, download it, you can read it for free as a PDF or on your Kindle. Absolutely free. And you know what? Even if you don't plan on reading it, do me a favor and go do that right now. Just go on over there and download it for free. Because damn it, I want it to chart. I want people to see this. I want unsuspecting romance readers to click to download the book expecting a fun romantic comedy and to get the Buttsteak deal instead. That's the plan, damn it. And for that matter, remember to add your own bizarre review, because in a week or two after we get enough reviews, we're going to read them on the air. And make them as off topic as you want. Make them weird, perverse, bizarre. That's exactly what we want. And let me tell you, Ironcast Knight's review of Robomancer was so damn epic that I actually included it as the afterword in the Buttsteak deal. So who knows? You may actually get yours reprinted in full in the next book. Although everybody's review actually does show up, it gets quoted in the beginning of Buttsteak. Let's see. Did not see The Cell. What about a vampire that feeds like a spider, where it liquefies you instead of drinking your blood? I'm not really the vampire person. That again is Kat's territory, and she's still at work. Um, I enjoy vampires, okay, but she's really the aficionado. I mean, she's read Dracula, she's read the Anne Rice novels, she's read Carmilla. She's the one. She played Vampire the Masquerade. She's the one to talk to. Hell, she didn't just play Vampire the Masquerade. She owned the TV series that was on Fox in the 90s, which actually wasn't bad. I mean, it had rough going at the beginning, but then got pretty good. Let's see. The vampires in the strain is a mix between mystical and biological. That's interesting. Yep, she has the entire series of Forever Night on DVD or maybe Blu-ray, I forget. Although, as I recall, we would only watch seasons 1 and 2. After that, it went to shit. But yeah, Forever Night was entertaining. Although I would say the vampire series I liked best would be Ultraviolet, the British miniseries that only had 6 episodes. That show really should have had a second season. It was so damn good. Didn't that come around the same time that I didn't even know Dresden Files got a TV show? You know what needs a TV show? Case File Arkham. That's what needs a TV show. Vampire Hunter D. Yes, she's got that too. She's got the remastered edition that's redubbed, and she's got Bloodlust as well, and she's got a very, very nice figure of D in the living room. She's made a display and everything for it. Let's see. Lampreys can be a nightmare. Oh, lamprey vampires. Hellsing Ultimate. Never seen it. Sorry. Vampires like the IRS. Well, yeah, there's that. Oh, wait, didn't Christ throw the vampires out of the temple? Sorry. What are your thoughts on Anne Rice and her handling of vampires in her? I have never read an Anne Rice novel or even seen the movies, so cannot comment. Wasn't there an Ultraviolet movie a bit ago? Yeah, that was a completely different thing, though. That had no relation to the BBC. No, it wasn't BBC. It was a British miniseries called Ultraviolet, which was just fucking brilliant. Mongolian vampire horde leader. Okay. Okay. Imagine if vampires were like Saiyans in DBZ. They would probably be like Dracula from Night Stalkers or Castlevania. No, no, no. If they were like DBZ, they would have to scream a lot and then say like some sort of activation word before they bite you. Go see it, Ishii. Go see what? The Ultraviolet movie? Interview with a Vampire? What should I see? Speaking of vampire and blue balls, how about Daybreakers? Interesting premise, soiled by bland ass social commentary and the wimpiest vampire fiction ever. Yeah, wasn't it basically a what comparison to oil addiction or some shit like that? The Ultraviolet movie I haven't seen, and unfortunately, that is one of those films that was wrecked by the studios. The film we got is absolutely nothing like the film that was shot. That was made by the same guy who did, oh fuck, had Christian Bale in it. It was basically a best of dystopian collection where they had, was it Gun Fu or something like that? But anyway, yeah, the Ultraviolet movie was supposed to be something completely different, and the studios thoroughly wrecked it. And then when they bombed, they blamed the director and ruined his career. There's a lot of directors like that where the director had a vision, the studio thoroughly fucked it up, and that ended the director's career. The guy who did Ultraviolet, I can say Richard Stanley, who did Hardware, who's now finally making a comeback. Stephen Norrington, who did Blade. Um, oh, there's one more I can. There's a long list of directors who were visionaries who did amazing work. Hollywood brought them in, totally fucked up the movie they made. The movie bombs. They blame the director, and that's the last we see of them. Um, I Am Legend is a good book with an interesting way of how to handle vampires. I Am Legend is an incredible book and probably one of the most depressing reads ever. I mean, it is a great story, but my God, if you wanna feel bleak and alone, that's the book for you. So they'd scream like Biden blast every time they suck the life out of taxpayers. Yes, yes, exactly. Is Twilight the worst depiction of vampires in your opinion? Are they really vampires though? I mean, really? I mean, Twilight sucks ass. Don't get me wrong, and it was Equilibrium exactly. Equilibrium was great, and his follow up was going to be Ultraviolet, and it was going to be in the same universe, or was in the same universe. And it was supposed to be a different aspect of that world, and the story was thoroughly different. And the studio did reshoots and re-edited the whole damn film, and it's not the movie we got. Okay, so what would be the worst portrayal of vampires? Huh. Twilight's pretty bad. I'll have to think about that. It was Snowpiercer with vampires and slightly less retarded. Oh, okay. Yeah, Snowpiercer. Social commentary to the point that it beats you over the head. Gun kata. I had a vampire idea called Vampire Hipster, where Rudolph Julian expels all vampires to Brooklyn. Studio interference is a hallmark of Ridley Scott's career. Yeah. Why worry about that when we can have the Underworld series? I really liked the first film, but they didn't bring back the scriptwriter for the rest of them was the problem. Um, The Twilight creatures were fairies, I believe. Myers confirmed that memory. Hey, there you go, Cat. Wolf confirmed. Apparently, it was originally fairies. So there you go. Okay. Renfeld looks pretty awful. Yeah, that might end up being the worst portrayal. I mean, every time Nick Cage is on the screen, I'm like, well, yeah, okay. And then everything else happens. 30 Days of Night had pretty awful vampires. Did not see the film. Did not see it. Read the series, but did not see the film. I believe it was Buddy Lord who said they were fairies. All right. Well, I've been on for 40 minutes. I'm unfortunately wearing down again. But one more time before, let's see. One more time before we go. Buttsteak deal is free right now, and I want you all to go download it so that I can get the numbers up. And remember to review it so that we can read it in a week or two, because we want those reviews to be hilarious. Sorry to be pushing and pimping the book so hard, but I'm a writer. That's what we have to do sometimes. And if you think this is bad, wait till we actually clamp down and really start promoting the Immortal Classic series. You're going to hear more about Ridiculum than you ever fucking cared to. We're going to be beating that drum hard. We're going to be beating that like a like a teenager, like a horny teenager alone in the bathroom with a with a bottle of Jergens. All right. Well, all of you have a good evening, and you take care.